Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. That's me, Krishi. And today we're not going to be doing any program nor a project because I have started tutorials on my channel and here is the first video for it. So we're going to be starting with Python today and of course it's going to be interesting. So let's just get into it. And if you have any particular language which you want to learn from my channel, just comment it down below and the video will be here. Let's go with the basic concepts of Python. Now, as we know that a Python is a high-level programming language, and with this, it is a very case-sensitive language. So just be aware of all of these things. Python is also used in web programming, scripting, scientific computing, and artificial intelligence. It is used by popular organizations such as Google, NASA, CIA, and Disney. Now, in this course, we're going to be using Python 3, which is the Python version 3. So if you're curious, here is the answer. Now, what is Python? It's a development environment, programming language, or a set of editing tools. So Python is a programming language. Printing. Printing text is the most used thing in any program. So here it is. So let's start with creating a short program that displays hello world. So the statement which is used to print out things is the word print itself. So here we're printing hello world, as you can see. Now here are 4 things which I can tell you which are important. Print, of course, the text, which is going to print out things. The parentheses, which just enclose the area of printing the code, or else if you don't add the parentheses, the concepts or the lines which are below hello world are also going to be printed because you're not ending the whole thing. And the quotations, you can use single or double quotations so that the computer knows which text is going to be printed. Now if you are adding something unwanted outside the quotation, it's not going to be printed. But if you don't add the quotation, the thing is also going to be printed. So make sure you don't do that. And hello world. Hello world is the text which we are trying to print out. That's the explanation of this line. So here we're going to be using print because that just does the whole work printing text. Now the print statement can also be used to output multiple lines of text. It's not that you're going to use the print statements once or twice in your code. It is to be used infinite times in your code. So it is just on you how many times to use it. Now, the yellow boxes are very, very interesting and they are very knowledgeable. So you can just read them. So Python code often contains reference to the comedy group Monty Python. So this is why the words spam and eggs are often used as placeholders variables in Python. I'm sorry. Now here you're going to be rearranging to generate the following output. Now you want the output to be A, B, C, and here the output is A, C. So what you're going to do is you're going to just do this and the output is in front of you. Now this thing just tells us that the arrangement of the code depends on how the print is organized. Like if you have this thing, then the code output is going to be BAC. But if you want it to be ABC, then print A should be at first place and then should be the B and then C. That's done. Let's go next. This is the code coach for the first program. We can just leave this because it's not important. Now here you are just going to add the parentheses as it is already stated in the question. So here it is and we're done. So second, and I've already completed with the Python course if any of you is wondering. But just to start the tutorials, I just choose Python to be the first one. Let's just go with simple operations. Now Python has the capability of carrying out calculations and here is it. It's directly done with a print statement. You don't have to do any work which is a lot more complicated, like first declaring sum with A plus B and then printing out sum directly, That's just a quite long process. So instead, you can just directly do print and you can just add those numbers which you want. The space is optional, it's just to make it easier to read. So if you want to remove them, you can. Now you have to just print the output, which the computer is going to be printing for this. It's going to be 6. Python also carries out multiplication and division using the asterisk and the forward slash, and these parentheses are used to determine which operation is to be performed first. Now, what if you do not add the parentheses? If you don't add the parentheses, it's going to be doing the whole operation according to the board marks. But here, if you've added, the thing is going to be different. Now, let's just take this case of 2 into 3 plus 4. So first you're going to add 3 and 4, and then the multiplication of 2 is going to be done. So here the code is going to be 14 because 3 plus 4 is 7 and 7 plus 2 is 14. And the second one is going to be 5. Now what's the code here? 4 plus 8 is 12 and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we're going to go for 6. It's not this because this is the correct answer in a float. Let's just go to the next concept of the basic concepts. So here it is. This is the floats concept. Let me just load. So floats are the numbers which aren't integers, of course, because they have a decimal places after them, like for example 0.333 and so on. Now these can be created directly by entering a number with a decimal point. Now if you want to convert a normal integer into a float, how are you going to do that? Now let's just take an example of 6. Just add a point and a 0 and it's going to be a float because it's 6.0 now. So here are 2 examples of floats. The computers can store the floats perfectly because if you have a number like decimal expansion of 1 by 3, then you're going to have 0.3 bar, and that's going to be too long to express. So what the computer does is it just prints 0.3 or a round off of whatever the number is. Now here, which of these is not going to be stored as a float? 7.0 is a float because you have a decimal place. 2 by 4 is also going to be a float because when you divide it further, you are going to get it in points. And this one is going to be 7 because there's no decimal place. Now, as you saw previously, dividing any 2 integers produces a float. Yes, that's true because if you divide 7 with 3, you're going to get a float. In the end, or like if you have a number like 4 and 2, you're not going to get an float in the first, but when you divide it to the very extent, then you're going to get a float in the end. Now, dividing a number, like dividing an integer with a float, also prints out a float, and dividing or multiplying or doing any operation to a float and an integer is going to print out a float. This is because Python silently converts the integer to a float. Now, let's just go up with this. So here it's 10 and this is 15, so 15.4. I mean, sorry, 15.0 because here there's one number which is in points, so of course you're going to add the float. Let's go for the next concept. Exponential. So exponential means to add power to any number like 2 square or 2 cube. Now 2 cube is 8 and 2 square is 4 because you multiply the number with itself, like 2 into 2 into 2, and in such a way. Now here is an example of 2 to the power of 5, and you are going to be adding these exponentials using 2 arters or double arters. You can also do a chain of exponential in Python, and how you're going to do that is in here example. It's 2 to the power of 3 to the power of 2. Now 2 power 3 is 8 and 8 power 2 is 64, which is like 8 into 8. So here was the example. Let's just continue. So here you're going to raise 5 to the power of 3, which is this. 5 to the power of 3, if you're wondering, is 125. Now you can also use floats in exponential, like 9 raised to the power of half, which is 0.5. Now the result is also going to be a float because you do anything or any operation with a float, it's going to be a float. Now a to the power of 1 by 3 is going to be it's going to be 2.0. You can't add 2 right here because it's not a float, so we're going to use 2.0. Let's go to the next concept. So the next concept is the last concept for the basic concept video, floor division. Floor division is something which is used a lot. Now what happens in floor division is that it is used to determine the quotient of the division. So here is an example. It's done using 2 slashes. So it's 20 divided by 6. This is because now you're going to get the output 3, which is the quotient, because 6 goes into 23 times. Like 6 1 is 6, 6 is 12, and 6 3 are 18. So it's 3 times, and the answer is 3. And divided by 4 is going to be 2, because 4 goes into 10 twice. Like 4 1s are 4, and 4 2s are 8. So here is 2, the answer. The modulo operator is carried out with the percentage symbol, and it is used to get the remainder. Now, for example, you are dividing 20 by 6. Now, the max number which goes is 18. So the remainder is going to be 2. And this is also done with floats, as you can see here. Now, here we are dividing 7 modulo to 5 divided by 2. So 5, this is going to be 2, and 7 divided by 2. Hard, right? Let's just see. 7 divided by 2 is going to be 1, because 1 is the remainder right here. So let's just see what's next. So yeah, guys, that's all for today's videos. If you like the video, just like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and press the notification bell. The project is already on my channel, and if you're interested, just click the link in the description box and you're gonna be there. So bye for now.